Patrick McGoohan ended his own show so deliberately unresolved that the network's switchboard collapsed under complaint calls, and he left the country the next morning. That wasn't a band ending. It was the only ending he was ever going to write. And understanding why explains more about The Prisoner than any plot summary could. 11 hidden truths about one of the strangest, most combative shows British television ever produced. A budget failure that created its most iconic image. An architectural utopia repurposed as a dystopia. A spy role turned down on moral principle. And a question its creator refused to answer for the next 40 years of his life. This is The Prisoner, 1967, and very little of what you think you know about how it got made is the whole story.
In your head is priceless.
Number 1. Never actually banned. On February 1st, 1968, ITV broadcast the final episode of The Prisoner, and within the hour, the network switchboard was completely overwhelmed. The episode is Fallout. Number 6 unmasks the figure called Number 1 and finds his own face underneath. McGoohan wrote that ending deliberately and delivered it without compromise to ITC. There was no suppressed alternate cut, no version locked away by nervous executives. The ending that caused the fury is the ending McGoohan intended, a refusal of conclusion dressed up as one. He left the UK briefly in the aftermath. The reaction was real. The suppression never happened. A creator delivered exactly what he chose. The audience expected something else, and that collision has never fully settled in the 50-plus years since. Later interviews with surviving crew members describe a production team that knew exactly what reaction was coming and chose to deliver it anyway. Budget consequences included.
Inauguration. Remove him!
Number 2. Announcing Rover's accidental birth. Rover, the white sphere that enforces the village, wasn't designed. It was improvised out of failure. The original security enforcer was a mechanical, vehicle-like device, a wheeled prop built to patrol the village grounds. During filming at Portmeirion, that prop failed. Fan sources describe it malfunctioning or sinking, unable to perform on camera the way the script required. The replacement was a weather balloon pulled from a nearby meteorological station, a practical fix rather than a creative choice, dressed up with no disguise beyond its role in the scene. What resulted was one of British television's most unsettling threats, something that moved without mechanism, suffocated without hands, absurd and genuinely frightening at once, an enforcer that was shapeless, faceless, and impossible to reason with. The exact timeline of the swap isn't documented in detail, but the core account, failure leading to the balloon, holds consistently across the fan record.
Nay, I have had the ear of statesmen, kings, and princes of many lands.
Number 3. Utopia as prison. The village wasn't built for the show. It had been standing, piece by piece, since 1925. Portmeirion, the ornamental village in North Wales, was designed over decades by architect Sir Clough Williams-Ellis to prove that development need not destroy natural beauty. He drew on Italianate and eclectic styles, building a world simultaneously real, inhabitable, and unmistakably artificial. McGoohan's team saw that Portmeirion's deliberate unreality made it a ready-made, pleasant prison, without a single new set built. A location built to demonstrate that Utopia was achievable became, without altering one wall, the argument that Utopia and captivity are the same thing. Williams-Ellis lived to see his life's work known globally for the opposite of what he intended. Visitors today still walk past the same pastel facades McGoohan filmed against, unaware that the postcard-perfect setting was built to argue the opposite of freedom.
How have you been here?
As long as I can remember.
Number 4. Budget in disguise. The penny farthings, the striped coats, the numbered badges, the vocabulary that made this show instantly recognizable was partly a cost-saving measure. Filming at one existing location instead of building new sets managed real budget limits at ITC, the production company footing the bill for a show with no guaranteed audience. A consistent visual identity is cheaper to sustain across 17 episodes than varied dressing changing week to week, and a coherent symbolic language, one badge, one bicycle, one palette, served the show's philosophy and its ledger at once. The craft discipline that made The Prisoner visually iconic for 5 decades was, in part, a solution to what the production could afford. Constraint producing identity almost by accident, a limitation that hardened into a style nobody has managed to imitate since.
Sooner or later you'll tell me. Sooner or later you'll want.
Number 5. The bond he refused. Before McGoohan built the most philosophically serious British spy story of the 60s, He'd already declined the most commercially successful one. McGowan was already known as John Drake in Danger Man, the espionage series that ran from 1960 to 1968. Multiple fan sources describe him being offered James Bond before Sean Connery was cast, and turning it down on moral grounds, objecting to the character's violence and treatment of women. The man who'd spend 17 episodes insisting a spy has an interior life worth protecting had already refused the role that said a spy didn't need one. Whether number 6 is John Drake in any direct sense, McGowan never confirmed and never denied. The two shows share cast members, an era, and a starting premise fans have traced for decades. Some scholars go further, arguing number 6 only makes sense as a version of Drake pushed past his breaking point.
Senior citizens, of course they have every comfort.
Number 6. What he withheld. What separated number 6 from every protagonist of 1967 wasn't what he did. It was what he refused. His name, his cooperation, the village's repeated claim that it had any legitimate right to him at all. McGowan built this as strict discipline, reportedly insisting number 6 never be shown in a romantic relationship with any woman in the village, since that would mean cooperating with the very system built to soften him. His integrity held through withholding, not heroics. For the men who watched this at 17 or 20, number 6 was asking a question they'd spend their lives answering. How much of yourself can an institution demand before what's left isn't yours anymore? McGowan never resolved it neatly, because he didn't think it had a neat resolution.
One teeny weeny week, my boy.
Number 7. Never the same villain. The authority opposing number 6 across 17 episodes was played by a different actor almost every time, and that was the point. Number 2 was Leo McKern, Patrick Cargill, Colin Gordon, Peter Wingard, and a rotating cast of British character actors, each bringing a different manner to the same institutional seat. Proof the village's authority was never personal. The most resonant casting choice was McKern's return. After appearing earlier, he came back for Once Upon a Time and Fallout, giving the finale a weight the revolving door couldn't build alone. The system sends a familiar face for the last round. Even that felt calculated. No other British series of the era treated its central antagonist as a role rather than a person, a structural choice years ahead of its time.
I shall give him his fare.
Number 8. His own ceiling. McGowan conceived The Prisoner as a finite story, and the 17 episodes that exist are reportedly more than he originally wanted. Fan sources placed the original plan at roughly 7 episodes, expanded under network pressure to a number McGowan considered too large for the story he actually wanted to tell. The episodes, long criticized as repetitive, cycling through escape and recapture without advancing the central mystery, exist by this account because the network wanted more hours than his structure required, and McGowan had to fill the gap somehow. He still ended at 17 and delivered Fallout without revision, refusing to stretch the finale to satisfy anyone. The figure of 7 traces to secondary fan sources, not a primary contract, so treat it as consistent but not confirmed.
Remember them?
I found out you're quite
Number 9. 40 Years of Silence. Whether number 6 is John Drake was answered the only way McGowan was ever going to answer it. 40 years of silence. He never confirmed it. He never denied it. Not once in any interview. He held the ambiguity until his death in January 2009 without ever recording a reason why. Fans have debated 3 explanations: a legal constraint tied to the Danger Man producers, a creative conviction that the prisoner should stand alone, or something closer to philosophy, a man keeping his identity to himself rather than handing it to someone else's framing. What's documented is that the silence happened and lasted. Why is not. McGowan, in real life, did exactly what the village never managed to do to number 6.
Attention post 14.
Number 10. The village never closed. Nearly a decade after the finale aired, a formal organization dedicated to the prisoner was founded, and it's been active ever since. 6 of 1, the official appreciation society, launched in 1977. Among the earliest sustained fan organizations in British television, in the same category as the first Star Trek fan groups forming on the other side of the Atlantic in the same decade. Its name comes straight from the show's dialogue, the line used to deny number 6 a stable identity. Its activities have included publications, conventions, and organized pilgrimages to Portmeirion, keeping a formal bridge between the show and its physical location for decades. The show that refused to resolve itself produced a community that refused to disperse.
We concede.
Number 11. Portmeirion, after the village. Portmeirion didn't become a film set relic when production left. It kept operating as a hotel and tourist destination, and the association with the prisoner turned it into an unusual pilgrimage site. 6 of 1 began organizing conventions there in the late 1970s, gatherings sustained for decades, where fans walk the same grounds McGowan filmed his escapes on. Unlike most television locations, the village is still standing, still walkable, still hosting events tied to a show that finished filming there more than 55 years ago. Williams Ellis died in 1978, the year his creation was becoming a gathering point for people who'd watched it imprison the man it was built to inspire. He designed Portmeirion to prove beauty and ambition could coexist. What endured was a place where people returned, year after year, to think about the cost of belonging and the cost of refusing it. The Prisoner is one of the few shows where the production history and the plot are the same story. One man refusing to give an institution what it wanted, on screen and off, until the institution gave up first. McGowan spent 40 years declining to say whether number 6 was John Drake, and he never once explained why. Legal caution? Protecting someone else's rights? Creative conviction? Or was he doing, quietly and in plain public view, exactly what number 6 did inside the village, keeping the one thing they kept demanding and never once handing it over? Perhaps that refusal was the point all along, the one performance McGowan never agreed to give, on camera or off. Tell us what you think drove that silence in the comments below. Be seeing you!